Hey, what's going on, guys? Xbox All In channel, host Sega Forever here. Um, Good to be here. And it's been a while since I did a video. Shout out to my boy Sega Man. In fact, I'm gonna go send him a invite. Hold on, because he did request. Well, it was for yesterday, so I don't know if he'll be able to jump in today. Um, but I'm gonna send him an invite, man, because I told him I would. The reason it's taking me so long to do this, well, maybe it's not so long, but the reason I haven't been able to do videos, so I have a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, Gamescom. I tell you what, Gamescom was. I was impressed with this year's show, especially from the Xbox side, but in general as well. Um, there's a lot of stuff that they showed that piqued my interest, to say the least. Stuff that I'm really looking forward to, and some of the stuff is coming out recently, or is going to be coming out soon. Most of it is going to be coming out next year, unfortunately. Some of the stuff that I'm interested in. Uh, but it's cool. But hold on, bear with me 1 second. Um, Let me see if I can put this on here. Yeah, so Sega Man did a podcast yesterday. It was really good. He did it with him and Hebot. We both did it, man. Go check it out if you guys get a chance. Oh, but I did tell my brother that if I did a podcast, that I would send him an invite. The problem was, it's just taking me so long. Like I was saying with Gamescom, I really enjoyed Gamescom 2025. That's where we're going to talk about it. But it took me so long to watch everything, and I was just focusing mainly on the Xbox content. Um, I haven't even done the deep dive into the actual show, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, or I can. I'll do it, but it'll probably take me all week because this is a lot of stuff that they put out there. If you guys didn't know, man, Gamescom is like the last hurrah for gaming, right? Or what we in the especially for somebody like, I'll just put myself out there, for a gamer like me, um, it's kind of a throwback, man. If I'm being honest, now they've done this every year, and over the last 10 years, I think it's blown up exponentially from the show that it was, and of course, a lot of the companies like Microsoft, especially, have put a lot of time, effort, and money into showing up at Gamescom to show their wares, and actually um, all the big companies used to do it. Not so much anymore, and the landscape has changed. But I appreciate Microsoft doing that, man. Getting out there, um, actually supporting the show and showing their content, especially if you're an Xbox fan, because you're not gonna catch this. You're not gonna get this. You don't get this kind of stuff anymore. In fact, Microsoft is like the only company that's doing it with their Xbox brand, right? But all right, let me send it. I sent it out. Hopefully, the brother can jump in. If any of the other guys come in, I'll send them an invite too if they want to be in. I know this is a weird day for me to be doing this. I normally don't do stuff on Sundays, um, but it's the only day I had to do it this time. Usually, I have stuff to do on Sundays, but early this morning. But anyway, if you guys are able to catch the video, appreciate it. And then if any of the other guys jump in, then that's fine as well. Um, but this is such an off day to do it, and I get it, man. It's just like, it's hard to we all got stuff we're doing, man. We all got stuff going on, and it's hard, man. It's hard to get. It's hard to get stuff done nowadays. That's why I'm behind on my other videos, as well. The only funny thing about all of this is I know my channel is kind of dropping off. Um, but on the flip side of that, and I think probably the most important thing, is that I've been actually been able to play games more regularly, which I find is funny. Yeah, hold on. Let me just do that. Okay, got it. In fact, I'm playing Alien Fireteam. I know I'm a little bit late to the game. Um, it is a great game. I knew it would be. I bought it when it came out. Man, but you have so many games on the Xbox side, dude. I'm not joking either. And I'm not just talking about games, just talking about Game Pass and all the drops that they do every single month, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's so bad, so much so, right, and bad in a good way, right? But it's so bad that it actually killed the narrative of Xbox has no games because you can't say that anymore. And some people try, but it doesn't stick like it used to, right? And it never should have been something that Xbox should have that should have been stuck on Xbox, because Xbox is always at games. And what you're seeing now with everything that's going on in the industry, and look, I know the industry is hurting, and enjoy. Um, I don't enjoy that it's hurting and that people are losing jobs and all these things are going on. But one of the silver linings in this very dark cloud with the gaming industry is a lot of these narratives, these false narratives, are being blown up in real time. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Okay? All this stuff about Xbox has no games, Xbox is dead, Xbox doesn't care about gaming, Xbox doesn't represent their brand or themselves. Um, that's all. If you hear anybody talking about that now, they're basically a heretic at this point in time. Just basically pissing into the wind because actions speak louder than words, and a lot of people could say that. And that's one of the things I like about this stuff, right? Because what it's showing is that a lot of these people are just haters, right? They're getting exposed to a lesser term. And Gamescom 2025 is a perfect example, dude. Like Microsoft is the only one that showed up. Out of the big three companies, Microsoft's the only one that showed up. And Sony and Nintendo, um, they they have nothing to show, right? Right? It's kind of sad to be honest with you. They didn't even bother to do anything online, right? Some of the stuff that you're going to get on their consoles is coming from Xbox now. Right? Shout out to my boy again, Sega man, who talked about this, right? Now his perspective has changed. I'm still a little old school, guys. I just can't. It's just weird for me to see all this stuff going on. Hey, what's up, Daniel, man? Welcome to the show. Yeah, happy Sunday. I know it's a little bit off for me to do it, but I appreciate you being here, brother. Thanks for stopping in. Talking about a little bit about Gamescom, give you my thoughts. Um, that's something that I'll never get used to. I'll just be honest with you guys, man. I'm too old school, probably. But as I say on the channel, dude, I mean that's just the way Microsoft is. When Microsoft moves on something, they're just gonna move on it. And if you're a fan, or a consumer, that's just the reality of it. But still, man, when you look at the overall picture when it comes to Microsoft and their Xbox brand, um, they're the only ones doing all of this stuff. They're the only ones putting the consumer first. If you notice that they believe, I don't know about Nintendo, I know PlayStation upped the price of their consoles. They blamed it on tariffs, right? Um, Whatever, right? It's kind of like the whole Doge thing. That's what have become the new Doge thing, right? It's just something that people say, and I think it's funny, right? Because this stuff has been going on in the industry for a long time. It's something I talk about on this channel all the time, right? This stuff just didn't happen overnight. Now, the economy exasperated it. I agree with that, right? It's part of that formula. But a lot of the stuff the gaming industry has been doing, man, they got caught with their pants down, dude. They did, right? All this thing about AAA studios. I'm gonna go down this road again, guys, and then I promise we'll get back to the Gamescom. But that's just the basic truth that a lot of the again the narratives that were out there about what the gaming industry is, what's popular, the road that we're going on. Sure, the economy threw a wrench in that, but it just exposed a lot of the fake narratives again that's out there when it comes to the gaming industry, right? And one of the reasons why Microsoft finds themselves the way they are with the Xbox brand is because they actually kind of follow their own path. And it's a Microsoft thing too. Man. Microsoft looks at the numbers. Sometimes I think they look at it a little bit too much. I'll be honest with you, but for the most part, it served them well. Especially now, look at where they're sitting. Right, I'm doing a podcast talking about Gamescom 2025, and the focus is going to be on Xbox because they're the only ones that showed up. Again, they're the only ones that brought stuff to the table, and they just didn't bring stuff. They brought it in that traditional way. Something that we're going to talk about, the culture. Um, the gaming culture I like to talk about on this channel, dude. They're the only company out of the big three that is doing this now. Either because they can afford to or because they have the content. Either way, right? They're the only ones that show up for the big dance, right? So if you're a gamer, right, and I'm not talking about a brand gamer or just somebody like myself who's a fan. and stick with and I bleed green. I'm talking about just the gamer in general, right? You have the PC side, and then you have for the consoles, it's all about the Xbox, and Xbox does both. That's the amazing thing about it. Xbox does both. If you sit there and you watch the actual Gamescom 2025, that's why it's taking me so long to do this video. If you watch Gamescom 2025 and you focus on Xbox, dude, they played it like they didn't miss a beat. They play it like they normally play when it comes to their showcases. Man, it's another solid showcase. It's probably one of their best showcases they've done, right? And one of the reasons I can say that confidently is because they had a lot of different games across every single spectrum. Whatever you wanted to see, they had it, right? If you like the big AAA games, they had Indiana Jones, right? They had a clip of that. They did Call of Duty. Call of Duty actually had their own section. It was amazing to me because I'll be honest with you, because it kind of put me off about the new game coming out, and that's not a bad thing. One of the things that's throwing me off with COD is that they're doing it back to back. I've never seen that before, so maybe they have something. My interest is peaked. I'm just a little bit worried about some of the stuff that they said in the show about what they're doing moving forward. Where I see myself because I'm already playing Black Ops 6, which I love. Right, it took me a while, but I've gotten into Black Ops 6. All the controversy aside, dude, it's a COD game. It's always going to be that way. If you're a fan like me, you just wade through it, man. There's things you're gonna like and things you're not gonna like. For me, with Black Ops 6, there's way more that I like than things that I don't like. And I think I'm gonna have to do the same thing with Black Ops 7. It just reminds me so much of their advanced warfighting one that they had a couple years ago, and I think they're revisiting that. So how they're gonna do that, I don't know. Um, it's going to be in Game Pass. So of course, if you have Game Pass, you get the benefit of playing it. And you can play it in Game Pass. Maybe I might drop the $30, right, just to get the support, and also to get the extras that you're going to get from the game. And we'll see how it goes from there. If it's good, I'll buy it too. Because like I said, I play COD. Hey, what's up, Big B? Big B money. Thanks for showing up, brother. I saw you on Segment's podcast, and I know you drop in every once in a while. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for repping Xbox, dude. If you haven't seen Gamescom 2025, I mean, it's awesome, dude. I would actually, and when I mean that, guys, I mean the actual show that Xbox put on. Like the 4 hours for the 2 days that they did it. And I would do it, man, because it's such a throwback, dude. And in fact, we'll do a couple of videos and stuff like that if you want. Kind of getting off course, but yeah, dude. I mean, it's again, it's one of the shows. Man, I know, I'm old school, man. I know I'm old gamer, man. It's just something I hope that we continue to see, man. Because you're not gonna some of the stuff we're gonna talk about and some of the stuff I'm gonna show you're not gonna get that anywhere else, man. It's kind of dying out, and I hate that, dude. I'm hoping for big things from Tokyo Game Show as well. That would expand a little bit, but it is Japan and stuff going on in the gaming industry in Japan. As you can see, man, a lot of their developers are coming on and supporting Xbox with their content, right? Because at the end of the day, dude, if you want to make money the way that a normal businesses do, and and I'm not against. Look, I tell you guys all the time on my channel, dude. If you get the bag from like Sony or from Xbox and you make the game specific for the console, I have no problem with that, dude. The problem I have is when people do that, and in the case of Xbox, what happened a lot of times, as Eva talks about, right, is that these people get stabbed in the back, right, or these guys go to Xbox, so like, can we put on another console when they already had made the deal, right? Or if you complain, dude, that's another thing I can help. Microsoft helps you, right? You put your stuff, you have an agreement, and they complain about like sales or something didn't go the way that they do. Dude, squash all that, dude. You do that as a developer, man, you're on my list, bro. I'm like, all right, no. If you want to, because at the end of the day, dude, if you want to make more money, you have to put your game everywhere. That's just economics 101, right? And that's what you see a lot of these Japanese developers doing now, dude. They know they can't just rely on Sony or again another one of those narratives that got exposed with the PlayStation, right? Or right that they have they see what other games are doing and what other companies are doing and that they're getting more money and they want that too, right? That's what you see PlayStation is going to do, right? You're going to get Helldivers too, Helldivers, right? And then just really quick, man, case in point, dude, I have no plans of buying that game, right? Because it's a Sony game. But dude, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I keep 100 on this channel, dude. My interest is peaked because they did probably one of the best things they could do that shows that Sony's all in on this as well about this cross-platform stuff, right? Is They actually are gonna do a crossover with ODST, with Halo ODST, and it's something that I saw that people were talking about online. In passing, as I look at gaming news, and I just thought something I was like, I'll put it on the realm of fan fiction, but it looks like it's gonna happen. And it looks like that Sony was doing the deep dive with Xbox, so this is an actual collaboration. That's what it looks like, dude. But kudos to the person who thought about that, because you're getting a person like me who had no thoughts of buying the game, actually thinking about picking it up just because it has Halo in there. And because it's not just because it has Halo, but it looks like they did a deep dive and it's something that's going to be cool. Right? And look, I see a lot of the stuff online where people, especially on the PC side, they want the Xbox guys to kind of embrace this, man, so that they can grow the player base, which for any online shooter that's important. Like I said, I've been playing uh, Aliens Fireteam, and I've been enjoying that game immensely. The only problem you have now is because I'm a little bit late to the show, like I said earlier, and so it's not every time that you're going to get people to play with you. In fact, I'm going to go check it out a little bit later after the show to see what the player count is, and maybe I can get in a couple games. Because I've been having to run. If I play any other, like if I play later on tonight by my time, like evening, early evening, I'm usually running solo, right? And that's one of the things maybe Microsoft can fix. You hear all the talk about their AI stuff that they're doing. I would not be opposed because I play a lot of shooters online. Depending on how good the AI is, if you can have AI, because you're playing with like a NPC character and stuff like that. But it's if they can get the AI to the level where these guys are actually feel like real people, right? Or that you won't even know that it's not real people, then I will be down for that. Just so that it can extend the life of a lot of the people who play shooters, because I might like a shooter that most people don't like, right? And then it can prolong the life of those shooters. For example, like I know Killing Floor 3 came out. I was thinking of picking it up, but I saw some of the stuff they did with the classes. I'm going to wait a little bit until they kind of up. There's a lot of people, hardcore Killing Floor 3 fans, that are talking about some of the modes and some of the characters and some of the things that they did with the game that they don't like. So hopefully they'll change that, and then I'll jump in a little bit later. But for me, I would like to go back and play Killing Floor 2, because Killing Floor 2 is my favorite Killing Floor. And so it would be cool, like to extend the life of any game if you can keep those online communities healthy. I think that's one of the big benefits that you can get from AI. Look, I'm not anti-human, right, guys? I mean, if I could play with people, I can. Right? I don't even care, like especially when it comes to shooters, man. I don't even care if the guy's a prick. Like I was playing COD the other day, and this dude messaged me and told me I was trash, and I was trash in the game. And I'm older now, dude. I'm below the 50th percentile, dude, when I play this game. On top of all the stuff like lag, cheaters, you got all of this stuff going on. So the way that I enjoy my COD is not basically, and I'm talking about Black Ops 6, is not really on the competitive level, like not like before for me, right? Because of me, because of the game, all the stuff that's going on. So when I'm playing it, dude, like just so happens I'm just trying to get the XP part. And so when you're trying to unlock some of the XP, right? Yeah, what's up, Big B? Yeah, dude, they had a great showcase. They had a great showcase. It was awesome, dude. I was really impressed by it and enjoying it, and I did the deep dive on it as well. So what I mean by that is I watched the broadcast and then I was going back in. That's what helped me prep for the show. But when I'm playing COD, dude, and this dude told me I'm absolute trash, and I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm not playing competitively. I'm just trying to unlock the XP, and I had to get like headshots, 5 headshots with a shotgun, right? And the weird thing is, I had a shotgun as my secondary, and I was getting headshots, but it didn't give it to me. And I was like, oh, what's going on? So I guess so what I did was I just rekitted my tools. I just redid my toolkit, and then I just put the shotgun as the main weapon, right? And then when I shot somebody in the head, that's what happened, right? Because some of those things, man, I don't use sniper rifles at all. So when of course, if I'm doing that, I'm gonna be trash. So that's what he wrote me. And I said, well, then get better, right? Kind of sarcastically. And then he started saying all this other stuff, and then I just wrote. So just to kill it, dude, all I did was just repeat like you're garbage. So I wrote back, you're garbage, and he wrote, you suck, and I'm like, you suck, right? And then after a while, dude, he knew I wasn't gonna bite, so he just left. I'm like, dude, I could do this all day. Right, dude. I know this guy's probably a young dude, man. If look, dude, the toxicity in COD that people talk about can't hold a candle to COD when it first came out, dude. It was absolutely brutal, dude. Like most of the people would melt if they were in a team chat back in the day, dude. That's just the way it was, man. Or Halo 2. Halo wasn't as bad, but COD was really bad, dude. And if you didn't have thick skin, you just wouldn't make it. I'm just being honest with you. So to have some dude try and talk trash to me, especially on a message, um, I'm like, dude, you can say whatever you want to, dude. At the end, because that's not my focus, dude. I'm not here to get a high kill death ratio, like some people are. And this is why people cheat a lot on the game too, man, because they're that competitive that they just, they don't want to lose. And then cheating is becoming so commonplace that it's to the point where everybody has to cheat. So in order for me to enjoy the game, I have to get other things out of the game, right? And being competitive is the last thing on that docket for me. Hey, what's up, Anthony? Man, thanks for dropping in. Cheers to you, my brother. Yeah, we're just talking a little bit of Gamescom. I just kind of want to get this video out. I was really impressed with the show. In fact, we're gonna go cover some stuff, man. So thanks for stopping by. Try and keep this as brisk as possible. I want to get this done under an hour, but I really appreciate you guys coming in, stopping in. It's something we should celebrate, man, as Xbox fans. Dude, to say that I was impressed with that showcase, and I have to say, there's a lot of stuff at Game. I'm talking about Gamescom, the actual show. There was some stuff that was dropped that I'll try and cover it in the show at a time, but that I actually liked overall. Right? Again, I'm not a big Jeff Keighley fan, so I didn't watch the night of or that showcase thing that he does. That's to me, that's just a waste of time. I can't stand that guy. And so, what I ended up doing, man, is just picking up on everything afterwards. And it was interesting. I found myself actually reading some of the, which I do. I keep up with gaming news. That's why I do the video blast, right? And there's some really actually good articles out there as well. Again, it's the culture. It's the culture of gaming, man. It's something that I want to be talking about a lot on this channel, man, because I think we need to preserve it. When you hear guys like Keybot and Sega, man, talk about the physical media, right, and how that's coming to play. In fact, Keybot was touching on that yesterday in the podcast with Sega, man. That's one proponent of it, man. Another thing is just gamers actually gaming, right? You have so many people that are out there that follow gaming or follow people that game but don't actually game. The simple fact that you have a game that could pique your interest, but because because you have a bias for whatever reason, dude, that prevents you from enjoying it. That's something that's dying when it comes to gaming. And look, I'm guilty of that too, right? And though I like to say in my defense that it's a reaction to something I've talked about for years personally. Is why that's why I support the Xbox. So that's my console of choice, right? I used to be a multi-console guy, dude, but there's other console fan bases that will not support the Xbox at all and wish it to die, right? And it's unfortunate that the culture has gone that way, man. And it's something that I think that's what Phil's trying to do with all this crossover stuff, man. But this stuff runs deep, man. It's like the console war has gotten so. I know people are trying to play it off now. What's up, too, man, brother? Thank you for being here. Appreciate it, man. Just talking a little bit of Gamescom, share some clips and stuff like that as well. But I know a lot of people want to push that over to the side, and I don't blame them, dude. It's not a comfortable thing to be in, especially if you don't want to participate in it. But we were here for years, man, and that was just the nature of the beast. And they're trying to kill it, dude. But in order to kill it, dude, they gotta address the main problem, and that's the toxic Sony fan base, dude. They are absolutely the worst fan base. I say that all the time on my channel. I'll say it again here, right? Because everything around revolves around it for some reason, right? They get that they're the smallest base, right? Because most gamers don't care about this kind of stuff. I get it, they don't, right? But if you're gonna try and move on from this and not address the real cause of something, it's like going to the doctor, not getting to the root cause of what your problem is. It's just gonna linger on, and that's the biggest thing. That's one of the proponents that I've always had about Xbox moving to the head of the industry, which they are, right? Because they do all the heavy lifting, dude. They do everything for the gaming industry, right? And then Sony just sits back there and just sits on their laurels, man, because they've been in the industry for several decades, right? And for some reason, they're the de facto godhead when it comes to video gaming, and that needs to change pronto. And Gamescom is a perfect example for this, because if you're the head of the industry and you're the one that sets the standards, then and don't even show up for something as big as Gamescom. The important thing about Gamescom is exactly this. It's not just about it's about the culture for me. That's very important, but it's also the simple fact that it's beyond an industry thing. They do industry stuff there, but it's for the fans, right? It's for the fans. That's what Gamescom is. You get to actually go there as a fan and participate in it. You don't have to like get a press pass or find some way to finagle your way into this game show, right? They allow you to come in, right? That's one of the great things about Gamescom. So where's Nintendo and where's Sony, right? Just being honest, dude, where are they? Nowhere to be found, right? The only people that show up is Microsoft. Microsoft is like that. Is that, and they're the punching bag. Let's be honest, they're the punching bag. Even now, all the stuff they bring, all the stuff they show, right? All the for anybody who worries about the future of Xbox, right? All you have to do is watch the showcase and be reaffirmed. Right? Again, I have my issues with some of the stuff Xbox is doing, Xbox team and Microsoft is doing. Um, but well, I mean, that's like at a maybe right now at 6 to 8% clip. But the 92%, dude, is all positive. And if you watch Gamescom, dude, you see that firsthand because they showed up. They showed up. But let me move. Let me move forward with this. Anyway, just to end it on the Game Pass was absolutely awesome, especially for Xbox. Not just as an Xbox fan, as a gamer, you got a lot of stuff to look forward to. As always, Microsoft showcases stuff that's not even in their wheelhouse. They've always done that with their showcases. That's why I love it so much. We'll go over a couple of the trailers. I'll show you some of the stuff that stuck out to me. It might be not your cup of tea, but I'm pretty sure if you try hard enough and if you're being honest with yourselves, right, that you will find a game that you like, right? Whether it's on Xbox or not, I'm just saying, right? But Xbox is out there pushing the industry forward. They're putting people on blast, and I can always appreciate that. Oh, there was a game called what? Uh, Mortis. I want to say Victim Mortis. Some game that was out there that was absolutely awesome. That showcased really cool. And of course, again, some of the people that complaints. You guys got to remember, Gamescom is in Germany, guys. This is more of a Euro thing. So like if you come over to the U.S., right, and you have cross pollination now, right? Of course, the E3 used to be a little bit more, U.S. Focused, but even E3 for decades have been bringing people from all over, right? You see that happening with Gamescom. Gamescom is basically taking that over, right? For the life of me, I don't know why Microsoft just doesn't do E3 themselves. Because basically, if you look at Gamescom and Microsoft's the only one showing up as far as one of the big representation for the three companies, right? They might as well just do their own E3. I don't know why they just don't. They could so easily. They have so much content, even with their games that got canceled. That's another thing. If you watched this Gamescom and was worried, look, I'm not saying. And again, people lost their jobs. I get it. I get it. That's not good. That's good. I talk about economy on this channel. In fact, I'm gonna do a video on economy because I've been off. I haven't been able, and I need to bring it back. But I talk about economy on this channel. It's not good, right? Um, but at the end of the day, dude, they're the only ones doing this, right? And even with the people that got laid off and the projects that was closed, they're still got tons of other stuff, man. When you talk about the 35 companies, which of course is lower now, but they just got so much content. And to a point, again, if you have Game Pass, it's hard to keep up with all this stuff, right? Game Pass is built and their consumption level, at the speed that they produce this content and put it out there for their fans is built for a general larger audience, right? That's why there's so much variety in all the launches. And you hear people complain, well, I can't wait to play, Assassin's Creed Mirage. I think we got that. We got two Assassin's Creed games that came in, right? And then you have an indie game and somebody, I mean, you got Assassin's Creed, but that indie game is trash. Okay, well, just play Assassin's Creed. There, problem solved, right? Because that game, if you don't like indie games, you're not gonna like. It's not for you, dude. It's for the people like me who actually play, like variety in my game, dude. I'm an older gamer, dude. I don't want to get jaded, and that's another reason why I'm pro Xbox, dude. Because Xbox, that's my fix, dude. I don't have to be playing COD all the time, or Alien Fireteam, which is awesome, by the way. I can jump into other games. Like, what's the other game I was playing? I was playing that new game that just dropped, the one where you're leading this herdling, I think is the name of it. I was playing it on my cloud, and then I don't know what was going on. The cloud normally works well, especially for games like that, and it died. It died on me, so I was just like, okay, I couldn't get it back up. Right, I was like in that queue thing. If they could get the cloud up and running at a great, consistently, that thing would be so beneficial. I would play so much more games, right? But the fact that you got to download everything, right? But at the end of the day, dude, Microsoft just do E3 every year, right? You do it, you run it, you do E3, okay? An actual proper E3 show, right? Because it'll be just like all the other E3s, because you guys are the only ones really showing up. But what you can do is you can expand it to everybody else, right? If you want to get, if you want to do the PC stuff, you got that stuff can be there. The indie stuff can be there. Steam can show up. Valve with Valve with Steam, and then you got what's the Epic, right? You got EA, who's a major publisher, some of the best stuff. Right? It'll basically be like all the other E3s for the last several years. It was just all about you. I would like to see them do that, like be more consistently. Right? Like, dude, nothing against Gamescom and stuff like that, but gotta keep this American. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But shout out to Germany. Shout out to the people that put that together, man. I mean, true fans. Right? Not gonna hate on them, right? And anyway, Gamescom 2025. Check it out. Dude, we're gonna move on. Microsoft Rogue Ally. I actually wrote this stuff down so I keep track. Microsoft Rogue Ally. Like I said, I'm not a hater. Right? Don't get this twisted. Shout out to Sega Mandem and their podcast that they did talking about it. Look, dude, I'm not a hater. Right? Um, it's just not. I can't play. I can't play portables now, dude. In fact, when I use my phone, I gotta be careful, right? Because I use my phone a lot, and I gotta make sure that. Because again, guys, I got neck and spinal problems, stuff like that, so I gotta be careful. Can't always be hunched over. I guess that's the best way I can put it. But for those of you that don't have the same issues as me, I really like the showcase. I like what they showed. You can tell they put a lot more thought in it than they're giving credit for. It looks like they worked a lot with the Rogue Ally team, or the Rogue team, and so this is not something to just put together at the last minute. Um, they showed a lot of the features. To me, it's impressive. If I could play it, I probably would be interested in picking up. The only, I know Hebot said this yesterday, man. I gotta agree with him. Man. That price point is absolutely killer, and that's why it's a no for me too. Not just because of the price point, but because the price point in terms of how often I'm going to be able to use the console. Right? If I was younger, definitely, I probably might save up the money or get the lower one. Because like the 599 one, right, is like the Series S version. That would be more in my wheelhouse. If it was 399, that would be an instant buy. If I didn't have the problems that I have with my neck. Okay, so that would be great because it'd be. I think it's a second screen option, which I think Microsoft does well, and Xbox does well with, right, giving you options of where you want to play. It'd be something I could play. I'd probably be playing a lot more of those indie games, dude, because it'll probably be like looking at the power of the system and stuff like that, and then running it on cloud. Um, looks like it's going to be a better kit, right? So, you know, I don't know. I'm playing my stuff on my X, but um, maybe that might work out better. So I would definitely play because to me, if you're playing a handheld, a lot of the stuff I play on there is more indies. I want to be playing AAA stuff on there. I like it better on my TV. My TV is pretty good. Um, and then I like sitting down and being comfortable playing it in front of a screen with a controller in my hand. Now, on that flip side, dude, I would definitely play some of the games that I've been playing now, right? If I got the Rogue Ally, if I didn't have the limitations that I have physically. So, again, I thought it was a good. One of the things I loved about it was a great. They answered a lot of the critics. Of course, they always have critics, man, because there's people that just hate Xbox and don't want that to exist. Can't do anything about that. Shout out to Jason Ronald, man. That dude's on point. He lets everybody know to go follow him on X. Follow his account, dude. He's always talking about that. He always, him and his team are second to none. So that's why I have a lot of high hopes for them with this product, dude. I wish I could participate in it. Um, that's just not going to happen for me. But if you're excited about it, dude, I think that you have good reason to be. Some of the stuff that they're going to be doing, especially when they work with these other portals, quote unquote, right? If you can put your Steam on there and stuff like that, I know a lot of people are excited about that. So, and look, at the end of the day, dude, I know I complain about certain things when it comes to Microsoft. They ain't hurting. They're a $4 trillion company, dude. They'll be okay. What else we got? I guess we can flip over, guys. Let me do this. Hold on one second, guys. Let me bring some of this stuff up, dude. And we're just gonna hop through these things, man. I mean, I just think the culture of gaming is important, and Gamescom is one of those things that we need to keep going. I've seen people complaining about um, the. I saw one of the complaints was because of the way Gamescom is, right? It's a technic it is again it is that throwback to E3. As I saw people complaining about some of the segments that Xbox had that it was way too long, and I was laughing inside my head because that's the deep dives that I like. I love that. about it. In fact, if I'll say this now, man. For me, best interview of Gamescom 2025 was Tim Schafer, right? Tim Schafer, right? The head of Double Fine. Dude, I better double check this, dude. You know, when you old, man, you forget stuff, dude. That's at the point of it. But let me give my boys flowers, dude, and I don't want to mess this up. Um, yeah, it's a Tim Schafer. Okay, 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 good. Dude, if you wanna watch a good interview, man, and I'm talking like old school interviews, like Arsenio Hall interviews, where there's a good back and forth. You know, one thing I loved about Arsenio Hall, if you guys don't know who he is, he's an actor. Late Show, and then he went into Late Show, and he had a great show. And one of the things that was great about Arsenio Hall and why a lot of people watch his show is because when he had guests on, you could tell they actually listened to him, right? And he had with like a good back and forth and a banter, right? Even if the interview got uncomfortable, dude, it was really good. Um, but Tim Schafer actually did a interview because they talked about that Lighthouse game that's coming out, which looks pretty cool, man. And then again, so this is something that I saw. It's definitely an indie game. It's definitely a game that will be coming out from Double Fine, right? But I didn't know all the ins and outs of or the background of everything that went into the game, right? And so two things: watch Tim Schafer's interview. That's to me that's the best interview of the show in Gamescom 2025 because he's a very personable guy and he's funny, right? He does a lot of clips and he does a lot of, he's just like his comedic timing is perfect. He bounces off well off of people, even if the people might not be good. Which in this case, yeah, the guys from Xbox on, I like them. I think they did a good job running the show. In fact, they even brought in that one dude Benny. They brought him back for the show as well. That's how big it was. But if you wanna laugh and have a if you missed the interviews of old that was actually interesting and good, then definitely go check that one out. And then also check it out because you get the deep dive of what the game's about because the game is weird. Like if you just watch the trailer, it looks weird, it looks quirky. I was like, okay, it's Double Fine. You can chalk it up as that. But then when you listen to Tim Schafer talk about it, right, and he's able to do the deep dive and talk about it in detail and gives a good explanation of everything that's going on and why they made the game and who made the game and their thought process, which I thought was pretty funny because he is he's the man, right? He is Double Fine, right? But then he has a lot of people that are under him that are doing this kind of stuff. Like Double Fine is very creative. They have a very creative process, something that I think we need to protect, and not just in gaming but in entertainment in general, as you can see by what's going on with Marvel and Disney, and even on the WB side with some of these other companies that are not able to put anything good together because their creative process is broken. If I'm being honest, right? So this is what Tim Schafer does, right? He runs a team that think outside the box and that looks for the stuff that nobody's looking for, right? And that's why you watch these interviews, guys. This is why you watch it. Again, culture of gaming. This is why you watch it, right? Especially if you're a gamer, man. This stuff should be interesting to you. If you're a person that wants to get into the industry, I definitely would think you would watch one. You need to watch this interview, right? And that's kind of was par for the course in all of the Xbox stuff, right? This is, I miss this, right? I understand, dude. In some instances, when we're doing the showcases, the way Microsoft has refined this process for them when they did their presentations has been second to none. Shout out to Tina Amini, man. I know a lot of that stuff is with her. Like she's the one behind there. Tina Wood before. And I think Tina still works on it somewhat, dude. Anyway, it's a perfect combination of what they're doing. They did a showcase where they just run through the stuff, dude. This is what you want to see. Then they post it up on social media, let everybody have their thoughts and everything like that. But then you still need these. You still need Gamescom, right? So if E3 goes away, dude, we have to protect this. We just have to, because you're not gonna get these moments, right? In fact, I'll share something with you really quick. Because to me, this was even though so the best interview I would go to Tim Schafer, but it showed something that was again that just reminded me of why this stuff is so important. And let me share this stuff with you really quickly because I think this is awesome as well. Hold on. I know, guys. I'm always doing this to you guys, but I know you guys, I know you guys love me, so it's all good. Dude, all the stuff I put in there, you guys have to love me if you guys stick on this show. And I know it's not a lot, but I'll take it. Hold on, let me blow this up. Make sure you guys can see it. Right. So let me just set this up really quickly, dude. So I'm watching, and in fact, I watched this with my daughter. So this is Obsidian, right? They got Outer Worlds 2 coming. I'm looking forward to this game because I couldn't play one. I'm thinking about going and trying to play one again because they had an update, right? And so hopefully the camera's not as jittery as it was for me that it made me nauseous. This one I don't think I'm gonna have a problem with, man, because just overall the game just looks amazing. I played Avowed, right, twice. Played that too twice, right, and had no problems playing it. And then this is their next level for. So I know like everything I look at the colors, the graphics, and everything, the speed at which everything moves. I shouldn't have a problem playing this game. So I'm looking forward to playing it. This will be the first Outer Worlds that I play. But I want to play you this little snippet, dude, of what I'm talking about, right? Why this is so important? Why the culture game is so important? Oh, hold on one second, guys.
High security facility elsewhere on Praetor, the world that you're on right now. There's a secret entrance in the tomb of the matriarch itself. So we're heading into the tomb. The tomb is a pretty interesting place. Not only is it the resting place for the matriarch, kind of like a god figure for the protectorate, but
so really cool, right? These are the guys that actually work on the game and know what's going on. So they're talking about it like in volumes, right? So you understand. Because and then you're getting the deep dive. You're getting it uncut, uncensored, right? It's all that.
it's also kind of almost like a museum. You get a lot of really cool lore elements in there as well. So we're going to see a lot of that as we play through. Yep, so you can see there it's guarded pretty heavily. Matt's going to have to go ahead and take these guys out.
Now I'm going to use this stealth grass to get kind of a strike of opportunity. I'm hidden in the shadows right now, and one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to equip my tactical time dilation gadget. So in the Outer Worlds 2, you have a number of different gadgets you can play with. This is actually a returning favorite from the first game where you can slow down time. I'm going to do a stealth attack on this guy, and then I'm going to go to town.
Oh!
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
He's missing his head. All right.
Let's see
Dude, that was nice. I'm not gonna lie, that was nice.
if we can get in there.
One of Matt's favorites. Are you going to be able to shoot it? All right. You had to slow down time to shoot it, though, folks.
That's what it's there for.
See? Oh, I lost it. I'm so stupid. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I accidentally clicked on that. Hold on. Let me bring it back. I'm dumb. Sorry about that. But you see what I mean, dude? That banter, right? That banter is there, guys. That's all right. We're not gonna go through this whole thing, man. Let me stop. Let me watch this shot again.
From the first game where you can slow down time.
This was nice.
I'm going to do a stealth attack on this guy, and then I'm going to go to town.
Look at this.
Oh, well, he's missing his head. All right.
Let's see if we can get in there.
One of Matt's favorites.
Not this.
Are you going to be able to shoot it? All right. You had to slow down time to shoot it, though, folks.
That's what it's there for.
So that's what I'm talking about. Sorry, before I messed up the video. The banter that these guys are having back and forth, right? Awesome.
And you can see Tristan's jumping right in there as well.
You can take on that melee guy.
Okay. Yeah, well, you missed that.
Yeah, so me and my daughter were watching this, dude, and when he did that, we just both started cracking up laughing, dude. I had this big smile on my face. This is what I'm talking about. This is why you need to watch this stuff. This is what gets you excited about the games, right? And I'm not talking about fluff or these people trying to sell it. You know, you have that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, a gamer as old as I am, I've gone through this multiple times, so I pretty much know what I like and what I like to play. But you know, this is why you watch these shows. This is why you watch this kind of stuff, man. And when I hear people complaining about it, look, dude, if it's not your thing, I get it, right? But at the end of the day, dude, this is how they, you know, this is what you need, dude, because you're getting, number one, they're explaining to you what's going on. You don't want to get it over explained, right? So, and I think they do a good job with that, right? This is a pretty good run through of a portion of the game. And in fact, I would have picked this as my best in show, but my best in show has to go to Ninja Gaiden 4, man. Ninja Gaiden 4 was absolutely amazing, which is ironic because I think the banter on this was way better. There's a lot of other stuff that makes it way better, but I'm just a Ninja Gaiden fan, and then Ninja Gaiden just showed a lot of the stuff, like the play mechanics and stuff like that, because it's a Platinum Games thing. So to me, it's Platinum Games at their best with Team Ninja. And it showed in there. I mean, it was just all about the gameplay. That's what sold it for me. But you know, they also had like other great interviews as well and showcases and stuff like that. But that's one of the things that this is what I talk about when I talk about culture and gaming, guys. Right? To have this kind of stuff, man. But and this is not the only time they did it. For the whole portion, they were going kind of And then it's funny, the guy that's playing the game is focused on the game, but the dude that's got the most of the talking, he was just throwing barbs left and right, dude. And it kind of makes Obsidian who they are. The only ones I think I put over Obsidian right now is ZenXile. Right, but ZenXile goes the extra. Right, if you follow them on social media, dude, they'll do all kind of stuff. Like you heard the controversy with Cracker Barrel, right? Where they're gonna change the logo, which I think is stupid. Um, they're going to change that logo, right? And so NXL took that and ran with it, right? And then again, that shows the culture, right? And I needed, I'll be honest with you guys, I needed that a little bit just for the simple fact that I kind of forgot, right? And again, at the end of the day, man, Microsoft, right? They cut some of their teams, right? And people got laid off, right? Some nobody talks about like Hebot was saying in the podcast yesterday on Segment's podcast, how these people get packages, they're just not cut and dry. I mean, a lot can be said about contractors. It's a different beast, guys. Trust me, I work with contractors as well in my job. That's just different. But at the end of the day, dude, right? It's like Microsoft goes the extra effort for this kind of stuff, right? And it's because they're Microsoft and they're Xbox and they're hated, right? It's just they get ultra focused on. That's why you watch something like this and you realize, hey, stuff might be changing, things are going through it, and it's not just a Microsoft thing, dude. It's happening everywhere. Like I like to say on my channel, dude. It's just every company is being affected by this. Dude, there's people that are uprooting from whole countries and moving to other countries. Some are coming back here, right, because of everything that's going on, right? It's just the nature of the beast. That's business, and so not to be sterile about it, but that's just the honest truth, right? Let's keep it 100 on this channel, right? But then you watch something like this and you understand that there's people still enjoying what they like to do, making great games for their fans. Right at the end of the day, I'm really looking forward to this game. I know Avowed was a risk for them. I know that's a game that they wanted to take a chance on and something they wanted to make. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think it was embraced as much. And it's not a bad game or anything like that, but on that level, I think Outer Worlds too. Yeah, and that's yeah. And sometimes you have to do that, guys. You have to do the Avowed so that you can, you do the Outer Worlds too because you want to do the games like the Avowed, right? And I'm not saying they don't like making the game. I mean, they both look awesome, but people like to make the games that they like to make. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Dude, this is the indie scene as well. Man. People make the games that they like to make, right? And sometimes they're not the commercial success. Sometimes they hit it out of the ballpark, but it's not for everybody. And you need that in gaming, guys. You need it, and so hopefully this is one of the reasons why I like the fact that Microsoft does back Xbox because they have the money backing. Right? Maybe they can't write the checks like they used to. I don't know about all that kind of stuff. We don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes. I tend to agree with he about what he was saying on Sigma's podcast, dude. At some point in time, they're putting so much time and money, and given the way they, like I talked about on this channel, economics is right now, it's just not going to work out that way. They're going to have to stop. So this is my honorable mention for best in show. Ninja Gaiden definitely gets it, and there are great ones across the board. If you guys want to watch it, they did a really good deep dive with what was it? Grounded 2. Grounded 2 is pretty cool. Um, but I love moments like this. So like the other one that was really good where it's kind of quirky was Indiana Jones and the Order of the Giants that's coming out soon. There's a DLC coming out next month. No, September. No, September, right? Or October. I think it's September is coming out. I'm looking forward to that, right? And so they had this part where the interviewer is opening it up for the developers, right? And one of the guys you'll recognize automatically. But the other dude, I think he was in the video, but I'm not sure. But it was funny because they started off with that guy and he starts talking about the game. And so when he's talking about it, you see him thinking, that awkwardness that these guys, because these guys are not, it's just like me doing this channel, right? I would 100 times listen to Hebot and E-Rock all day long because they have that gift of gab, right? That's their wheelhouse to do these kind of things, right? Like when they do a podcast or when they go on a podcast, when they do their own videos and stuff like that, they have that ability. They're good speakers, as opposed to my show when I do all this stuff on my YouTube channel, right? So definitely, when I was watching that, the guy that started off the talking, he just kind of lost himself in his thoughts because I think he was trying to answer the question, but he's also trying not to give away too much. And at some point, he just stopped. He looked at the other guy and says, "You want to take over?" I was like, dude, at the end of the day, dude, these guys are geeks and nerds, man. This is why they do what they do, and I love that because I'm a geek and I'm a nerd myself, right? And it's just something that I think is it's just something that's a part of what gaming is, and we can't lose that because it's not going to go away, right? People that make these type of games have a certain type of personality, and it's changed. It's changed, dude. It's not like a one size fits all anymore, right? You have a lot of different people doing this stuff right now, but at its core thing, man, you have to like most people that make these type of games are not really people persons. I'll just put it to you that way. And it kind of shows. And that's why I like watching this stuff, man, because I miss that, dude. I like the awkward pauses. I like it when the dude actually, like one dude actually died when he was doing showcasing his game, and he's the guy that does the game. And so, and then that's what was happening. That I didn't even have a problem with this, but what would happen is people would get like the face of the company, and they would come and talk about the game. That kind of went away and altogether because of COVID, where they started just doing stuff online. And we need to bring this back, dude. I know we have AI. We're on the cusp of all this kind of stuff. I keep up with all this stuff. I'm a futurist, guys. I always look facing future. I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, dude, you can't we can't lose stuff like this because this is what make gaming what it is. I'm just being honest with you, 100%. So, I want to share that really quickly, and then we're gonna go to this new other tab real fast. Um, but let me stop sharing this. Hold on, guys. Let's stop sharing that, and then I'll bring it back afterwards. So, hey, what's up, Faded? Sorry, I was off screen. What's up? I'm invested. I'm the handheld. Wait, what's up? I'm invested. The handheld day one. Oh, you're getting a handheld day one? Yeah, yeah, dude. That's cool. I don't have a problem with the handheld, dude. I think some people thought I was like anti handheld. I'm not. I won't be able to use it. Not because I don't want to, but because I can't. Like I said, dude, I use my phone a bit and I have to be careful with that. So like when I use my phone, guys, I keep the phone above shoulder level, right? And then when I have to text anything, like I have to text and kind of eyeball down, right? That's why, and I don't like texting anyway. So, but I have to for my job, right? And so, that's what I do, right? And I won't be able to use the handheld, man, because I don't want to be holding something like that. You want to do what everybody else does. You want to kind of look down and play it, right? But if I did that, dude, my neck would be all jacked up, dude, and then I'll get in trouble with my chiropractor because she'll know, and then she'll have the massage therapist take it on me, which is my fault for doing that, right? It's because my goal, man, physically, with my physical limitations, dude, is to kind of get back. I can't get back to 100, man, but I can get back to at least 80%. I'd be happy. Hey, stranger, you mad at your brother? Nah, brother, do you want to jump in? I can send you a link. I'm just giving my thoughts on the Gamescom thing, dude. Great podcast with Sega Man yesterday. I normally don't do these on Sunday, dude, but I had no other time, and I've been having all kind of physical. Dude, I went to the ER again, dude. I've been going to the doctor. I've been on the all over the VA, man. VA's been screwing me over the last 8 9 months, man. When I lost my doctor at the VA, dude, I was struggling with these guys, man. They're irritating. They're super irritating. So I have to go straighten all that out, man. I'm gonna send it to you on Instagram. Is that cool? Hold on 1 second, brother. All right, I sent it. Yeah, at least for a few minutes. Yeah, yeah, I sent it to you, brother. When you wanna come in. Did they release a Faded Blaze? Did they release a price yet, or is it going off rumors? I haven't seen anything official. Or maybe I thought it was like, but I heard it was like 8.99, right? 7.99, 8.99 for the X version, and then 5.99 for the well, technically the S version. Heba says, "What's up, two man?" Heba says, "What up, Faded Blaze?" Heba, if you know, I think Heba knows. He can tell you because I know they talked about it in Segment's podcast. Hold on, let me bring this back up. All right, my brother, I sent you the link. You know what I'm gonna do? Hold on, guys. Let me share this. Uh, I'm gonna do this also on the messages, Shiba, if that's easier. And then if any of the other guys want to jump in, I can't copy and paste, man. I gotta type it in on my phone because I don't have messages on my thing. Man, this is so time consuming. I just be honest with you, Faded man. That's some dude. If it's like 7.99, 8.99, that's some big bucks, bro. I'm not gonna lie, especially now. But kudos to them, man, for sticking to their guns, man. I know this has been a process, so it's not like you can back out. I mean, well, in Microsoft case, they do that all the time, but kudos for them for sticking it through, for for um for sticking with it. Hebot also send it in our group, the link. If you want to jump in, so it's on Instagram. It's on the group text. Because Microsoft could have, dude, if they were gonna get into heavy. So, and again, this should give you guys pause for all the people out there that are saying that they're not gonna have a console, right? This fits perfectly into their plans of what they want to do. Now, me and Hiba will probably vent on the actual digital aspect of it. You guys, your boy's been upset about them taking away the movie store. Um, hey, what's up, brother?
Can you hear me, Papa?
Oh, perfect, man. You're coming in loud and clear.
Hey, brother, how you been?
Ah, man, this doctor, ER, freaking
I
GP.
figured stuff's been going on because I haven't really heard from you, and plus I've been seeing you come on like really sporadic out of nowhere at different times. I'm like, oh, he must be going through it right now.
Yeah, dude, I have to switch up my diet again, man. I'm drinking like beet juice.
Right. Well,
Bro, I
beat you.
mean, I'm talking about like I'm talking about natural, like the whole, like the uncut, unadulterated, freaking hundred
Straight
percent.
up. Yeah, straight up, straight up.
Because I like beets, man, but that juice, man, they like drew the essence out of that vegetable, man. I took one sip of that thing, I was like, dang. And in fact, when I was drinking it, bro, that thing went straight down I felt it go all the way through my body.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, oh well, that's what it takes.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know that beats are good for you. I know that.
Yeah, they're good for circulation.
Oh yeah. Especially down there in the
Yeah,
big dog.
yeah, and your legs. No, and your legs too, dude, because that's connected, bro. That's all.
Really?
That's why people with good leg circulation, like you see a lot of those people with the massive families too.
Yeah, yeah. I was feeling horrible yesterday, man. I had such while I was with Sega, man, it was hard for me. I don't know if you noticed, I was like kind of like stopping and repeating myself because my chest and my back was hurting me so bad I could barely breathe. I felt like shortness of breath. I'm like, damn, am I having a fucking mild heart attack or what? Because it just gets so painful where you just feel like you can't breathe. And it's bad. Like when I feel like that, oh, I just want to stay sitting down, relax without talking, and just kind of to myself. I feel so fucked up. You know what I mean? I
You know
have
what,
my son.
brother?
Yeah, go up. What's up?
No, just to add to what you're saying, like I'm gonna go to the doctor and I'll let you know, because that might be a nerve issue. So I'm gonna have them do like a CAT scan and do what's the other one, man? The one that they actually did the heavy ultrasound.
Right, right. I mean,
Yeah,
I was reading up that if you have like tightness in your chest, shortness of breath, and even pains all over your body, that it could be a sign of heart failure. But I've been going to the heart doctor, and he said everything's fine. You know what I'm saying?
no, it could be musculoskeletal, because that's what I have. So I have the
Right.
same thing as you, right? So like, and I know some of it could be digestive as well. Um, but musculoskeletal is what we're going with right now because I have it, and then I go to a chiropractor to work on it. That's why it's funny because that the Rogue Ally. So I had some
Yeah.
people like, also, what you just hate handhelds, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, no, dude, I can't play it, bro. That has nothing to do about if I like it or not. Right? I
Right,
can't
right.
like when I use my
But
phone.
people don't understand that for us to hold it on our hands in a certain position for so long, it fucks with us because our bodies are all messed up. They don't get that.
Dude, when
You'll understand once because the thing is that people, if you've never been overweight, like say it forever me, right? In my case, I'm shorter, right? I'm a short guy. I'm like 5'6". Right? But say it forever, he's like 6 feet, 6'2", something like that, right? If I'm not
yeah,
mistaken.
yeah,
So he's carrying weight being tall on top of that. So his spine does triple the work, right? And I'm carrying extra weight being shorter. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So people don't get it and they don't understand that unless you're a big guy and you've been big most of your life and had a hard time working out, losing the weight, they don't get it. Because some people is just they go to the gym, they lose weight like nothing, they get ripped like nothing, and it's just easy for them. Not everybody's not the same. The genes are not the same. Genetically, you're not the same. So it just doesn't work out that way. So you tell them stuff like that, and they almost probably look at you like, or hear you out, and like, that just sounds crazy. Why can't you hold it? Because it just can't. If I know what you're saying, if I hold that position, let's say sitting or even maybe laying down, my spine is going to start to hurt me. Arthritis in the spine. Put it like this: even when I get upset, right? When I argue with my children, I get mad, or if I'm having an argument in general, I feel a jolt of electricity in my spine, and it gets stiffened. I feel like almost like paralyzed temporarily, if that makes sense. You get what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
And I can't move. And I have to stay still for at least an hour. Like I just get paralytic almost because that jolt of electricity going up my spine is so painful that I get numb. It's almost like I don't feel my back. And it's scary because my leg give out everything. It's fucked up.
Yeah,
So
we're at that age, man. We can't be getting angry. You know what I mean?
yeah. And then also, sometimes some people it affects them with a heart attack or with a stroke. Everybody's different. That's why you got to be careful. So it's like whoa. Like I try to avoid as much confrontation because of that, and it drives me insane because I was always a guy that grew up fighting, and the reason why is because I lived in a bad neighborhood. I had to always fight and defend myself in order to get the respect I needed. Right.
Right, right, right.
So I grew up that way. It's not that I try to be a tough guy. It's just that's how I had to grow up. I didn't grow up in the Beverly Hills where everybody got along, everything was cool, kids got along, they weren't always trying to fight, they were actually trying to have fun. No, where I grew up is if they always wanted if they wanted to size you up because they wanted to see if you were tough, to see if you were a punk or to see if you tough or a man, they always want to size you up and trying to cross your line to see how you react. You had to always end up fighting. Then once you had a fight, if you beat the shit out of the guy, you got your respect. And if you didn't beat him, but you punched him like a couple of good times in the mouth and made him bleed or broke his nose, you still got some respect. You get what I'm trying to say? So
Yeah,
that's how I had to grow up. And again, it's nothing that I'm proud of. But now, bro, if I get into arguing with somebody, I get scared because I know I can't fight back in the sense that I'm gonna be either I'm gonna have a heart attack or I'm gonna fucking stay paralyzed because of my spine. And I get fucking scared. And then people are like, oh, this nigga's a punk. Like, no, dude, it's that. I wish you talked to me like that when I was 20 or 25 and you see what's going to happen. You see what I'm trying to say?
man,
Um,
you know what you need to do, man. You just need to be stupid back to them. That's what I was talking about that earlier. Where I had this dude message me on COD. We were playing COD together, right? Or we were
yeah.
playing. I was playing COD, and we were going against each other. And this dude kept on killing me, man. He had a shotgun, and I had a rifle. What I was trying to do, or I had what was it? I had my LMG, and so I was trying to get kills with my LMG. And then he messaged me and he said trash. And so then I messaged him back, said get better, right?
Oh,
Then he's like, no, you're trash. And I just wrote him back, you're trash. He goes, no, you suck. And I'm like, yeah, you suck. Right. So that's what you do, right? Just play dumb. I'm like, bro, this is because like I said earlier, man, somebody like him, you can tell he's a younger guy, right? Because he actually cared to message me about it. And
yeah.
I thought it was funny because somebody like him wouldn't have lasted when back in the old days when online
Yeah,
was
yeah. Shit. You know how
that
many
guy,
times
that guy would have known because
that's
people were
another
brutal back
thing.
then.
Yeah. We bring a good point up because
Yeah.
when we were in the arcades, and you know how there's always going to be a sore loser, always.
Yeah.
Always. If you beat the shit out of somebody in any game, or if you took a turn and they felt that it was their turn and not yours, that became an argument instantly, right? And a lot of those arguments sometimes ended up going outside and getting into a fight, even though it was stupid. But because some people just don't know how to rationalize and talk. They just only way they know how to solve their issues is by being in a physical altercation or uh, verbal altercation or just being like offensive for some reason. It's life, unfortunately. And so that would end up because if they put their hands on you, we going outside. Fuck this. Because you can't fight inside the place, obviously. You get kicked out, you can't come back. Go outside, have a fight, boom, boom, come back inside and play again. You know what I mean? That used to be something that happened. At least where I was. I'm pretty sure maybe you've experienced that as well. But
I know. One time we were at this place called O'Farrell's.
yeah.
It was a popular spot back in the day, and so what it was in Hawaii. This is the way you did it, right? And I'm just saying because I know
Yeah.
some places do it, right? So there's when you're waiting for a game, there's a couple things you did, right? You either
Yeah.
put your quarter on the top of the cabinet,
Absolutely.
at the ledge, right, or on the face of the cabinet, right? Because you had the ledge over there too. You put your
Yeah.
you put your quarters up, and people will be waiting.
Yeah, you're on top of the marquee.
Yeah.
Because that was called the marquee, right?
Yeah.
And then, or in the face on the actual screen,
Yeah.
so that they know that you wanted to take a turn. Because some people would stay there, keep playing, and forget that there's other people that want to play it. And if they only had one machine, that was like, yo, what the fuck? When you plan to give somebody a turn, like, what? I'm not gonna stay here all day waiting. You know what I mean?
It's funny because what it was that people was waiting, right? So you had a group, so you couldn't pull that, right? But the other thing we did here in Hawaii, I don't know if they did this in where you is from, up in New Jersey, right?
Mm.
But here in Hawaii, dude, what you would do back in the day, dude, is you would actually put your quarter inside the machine.
Oh,
You drop
okay.
your quarter in there, and then the person would leave, then you would go, and then you just press start, right? And so I was at this place, and I did this. I did it one time, man, and this guy took my quarter.
Oh no.
Yeah. And so the funny thing was, you could tell he was like not from there, but he knew, right? He knew I was in his quarter. But anyway, that wasn't good for him. I'm just gonna
Oh,
say that
I'm pretty sure.
because it's not just me; it's the crowd of people, right? And it's a local thing, right? Like people here, that's what we do, right? And you just
Yeah,
don't, yeah. And plus
I've
another
seen
thing is
that.
like,
I've seen that done before too. Like to make sure that you get your next turn, that people would put in the
yeah,
quarter.
put his
Then
quarter,
once the guy died, he knew, next quarter belongs to the other person.
right?
So it wasn't done as much. I used to see people do that, like when we were in the mall, because the mall had an arcade called Fun and Games, right? And it was always packed, especially on Saturday and Friday night, because the kids would go to the mall, hang out all day, right? Then at night, since the arcade stayed open till like 11, they go in the arcade, and of course, all big arcades, especially in the mall, they would have like things where you could buy your pizza, hot dogs, hamburgers, soda. You know what I mean? Oh, they would even have a little spot with tables you could sit down and eat. Because they were big, right? So it was a hangout spot. So the teams would stay there till they closed till 11. And so I would see them do that. That was like a common thing. But locally, where I lived in Passaic, right? We had two arcades. We had Green Acorn, right, which was the first and the smallest, but the most original. Was owned by a gentleman named Tom, which we used to go in there and do like trading cards because he used to be a baseball card collector. So we used to always do trades with him with different governor's cards. He used to sell governor's cards, ice cream, hot dogs, all type of shit. But it was smaller. It was in a corner, right in the corner of one of the streets, and it was like smaller. But he used to get like all the best games, all the new games, because he'd been in the business for a long time, right? And then afterwards, years later, somebody else came in with money, rented out a bigger spot, and they made Rack and Roll, which I don't know if you noticed when I put it on Twitter. When Poseidon came to visit me, we went there. I showed him the spot, right? And
I don't think I saw that.
no, I'll send you the picture. I still have it. And it was real nice. The place. When they first started, it had everything, all types of great games, blah, blah, blah. But through the years, they kind of let it run down because the management's not good, right?
Yep.
So now they have more of those games that you play, like the ice hockey machine, roller ball, the rolling ball, the basketball, because they make more money that way, I believe, because people don't really play the arcade machines and there's not a lot of, but yet, they still play the big ones. Like they have, like the new Halo, they have it there, the Ninja Turtles, the new Jurassic Park from Raw Thrills. I have a couple, but there's not as many games as back in the day. Back in the day, it used to be packed with games. And in the very end, in the back, so big, they had a bigger section with like 8 tables. And then on the side, in the back also, they had a big hall where you could do parties. So they would rent it out so people could do parties for their kids. So when that guy came, he basically took Tom out of business because Tom was just not big enough. You know what I mean? He didn't make enough money. And then he retired, went to Florida. I'm assuming he's probably passed away by now because that was years ago. But he was a good, cool dude. But we used to, here, it was always just put on the marquee or on the screen. They wouldn't really do that because there was a lot of kids in the neighborhood that thought they were tough. Like I said, I grew up in a bad neighborhood, right? So they thought they were tough. And of course, being that it's a small town, right? When you went to the arcade, you knew you always were going to run into those kids that thought they were tough and that they kind of always try to test you. So if you put that quarter in, more than likely you were going to get into a fight because they were going to do what you just said that the guy did over there, and you said in Florida, in Hawaii. They would do that. They would just take the quarter and try to play it off, be funny, and then laugh. And then you would have to get into some shit. So to avoid it, that's why we wouldn't do it. Because we knew already.
Well, the thing about it is that that's just there's a group of people there. So the mentality is if you do it to him, you're probably going to do it to me.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And then look, Hawaii is a smaller community, smaller people, or small, especially back then, it was more local.
Yeah, but so Hawaii is also a community of people that are very civil, very respectful, religious, very tight knit, very unified. It's not like that in a bad neighborhood, especially in a neighborhood like me, where it was all types of different ethnicities. Right? We had Indians, we had Jews, we had blacks, a couple of Mexicans at that time, a couple of Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, white trash, what you consider white trash, like trailer trash, whatever they call it, whatever. Mm-hmm. So in our neighborhood, there was all types of diversity. So, and that was not before all this bullshit that they try to do now. That was way back then. But the problem is that because I guess we grew up in a poor neighborhood where there was a lot of disconnect, right? Because the Puerto Ricans would hang with the Puerto Ricans, the blacks would hang with the blacks. Yeah, we hang out amongst each other sometimes, but we had our own section, if it makes sense. Kind of like the Warriors. Think about the Warriors. They had their own section, right? And that's how it was here. But when you went to those local places, obviously everybody went to the same place. So that's how you kind of knew. Like, oh, there he is, this nigga. Oh, yeah, don't go do that because you know what he going to do. He going to try to be tough, and then you're going to have to get into some shit. So, like we always knew the guys that you always had to get into a fight with, or get into argument because they would never change. They would always be the same way, acting stupid, trying to steal from you. Like if you had your bike and you didn't tie your bike, they would try to steal your bike. Like they do stupid shit, like a lot of them. But you already knew who that group was and those people. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that's why you had to kind of, and these were real stories. Like, it was still a fun place to go, but again, like I said, you had to know what and what not to do. Unfortunately, due to the type of place and how it is as far as the community where you live, because although for the most part it was peaceful, there was always that rivalry or that kind of, you had to always get into some type of physical altercation because there's always the dummies that thought that they were tough guys and hot shit. The reality is most of those guys either ended up locked up for life or got killed, unfortunately, gangbanging or because of drugs, because of somebody selling drugs to another person that was a customer to that person. Then they get into a shootout, kill each other. Unfortunately, that was just the reality of it. And then a lot of them became crackheads or drug substance abusers. And you see them in the streets still today, old as fuck, and still doing drugs and homeless, unfortunately, or you know, they moved away, to other places. But those guys, or they're still in the neighborhood, like 50, 60 years old now, and still haven't done nothing with their life. They're still in that corner. It's very few, though. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, we get the same
But
thing.
still in that corner, doing the same thing and never change their lifestyle. Unfortunately, um, that's why I said it's a shame because that domino effect is continuous. It doesn't matter where you live. If you want to get out of that ball and chain and that domino effect, you just got to strive to do better. It doesn't matter where you come from. So, but people don't see it that way. So people just think, whatever. Not to say that everybody that comes from the bad neighborhoods are bad people. It's just they had a rough life because it wasn't handed to them easily. It was just always something bad since the minute that they were young, either young children or young teenagers. They always had something bad happening around them. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude.
It is what it is. But yeah, so Gamescom
Yeah,
was,
yeah. So what are your thoughts on Gamecom?
well, Gamescom, it makes me angry because you see that they have the beauty of what we don't have no more with E3. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I was kind of talking about that earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Gamescom is a beautiful thing because it was their E3 for Germany, for Cologne. We don't have that no more. You know, these people pay money, they go there, they socialize with all these other fans, they get to play all the demos from all the new games that they're working on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just a show where they do the keynote, they show a trailer. Oh, that's it. There's the trailer, and you can't even play the game with other people surrounding you that are fans like you. Give opinions. Then you talk to the developers that are there, giving them feedback. Oh, I like this. I don't. Maybe you could. Can you change it? It's more personal. It's more tight knit. It's a more cultural experience, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't understand how we live here now in this day and age in America, talking about that we're gamers and we love gaming, and yet most of these fucking goofy ass doofy motherfuckers, all they did was celebrate that E3 died. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Yeah.
Look at the difference. 2, 3 days of Xbox streaming, talking about every game they showed with every developer. That shit is awesome. You can pick, obviously you don't see all of them because you're not interested in every game. But the ones that you are, like Ninja Gaiden 4, I saw all the 3 interviews and they were great, right? Because you
It's
get
interesting
that.
because earlier in this podcast, I gave that as my best in show. So for me,
Okay.
best in show is like who had the best show, and there was a lot of great ones. Don't get me wrong, but of course, being a Ninja Gaiden fan, you have Platinum Games, right? And it just showed out, dude. I mean, when you watch, because they actually show the gameplay, right? And when you
Yeah, yeah.
watch that, it looks amazing, dude. I was like, dude, this is what we've been looking for, right? And then also shout out, man, because they had a lot of good representation for like Prince of Persia looked cool, the 2D one. And then also Ninja Gaiden. What was it? What's the other one coming out?
Well, they showed a lot of newer stuff that
Yeah.
looks great. Um, like they showed it was like a couple of good hack and slash wins of something, but according to what they said, it's a 6 months time exclusive to PlayStation. And my son's like, "Yeah, man, you see, they're still doing that." I was like, "Yeah, that was put in place before. That was a while ago. They're not now. They're gonna do things differently, but that was something that was probably more than likely put in place a while ago, and they
I
can't
mean,
change it because the contract is done."
they can continue to do that at their own discretion. I mean, at their own apparel, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
what
No.
everything is flashing out right now is that's not what people want, right?
I just don't think they can afford to do it anymore. Whatever
No, they
you're
can't. Yeah, they
seeing
can't.
right
That's
now,
why. So
whatever
I
you're
so
seeing
that's
right
what.
now,
Yeah. So if they try and do this, I mean, look. Either way, we win, right? Because I can't stand Sony.
absolutely.
So,
Well, look,
the financials are not there. Is-
no, it's not. That's why people are like, oh no, how they could do this, they could that, they could make all this money. I'm like, dude, do you realize that these guys are making money, right? But because they're in a debt and they owe so many people money, they're still in the red. That's what I spoke about yesterday in Sega Man's podcast.
Yeah.
And I said, if you look at any company stock, that'll tell you financially what situation they're in. Sony's stock has been in the red for 20 years now. That means they owe people money. So every time they make money, they pay out, make a small amount of profit, make other stuff, and then do make money again, pay out. And that's how they've been. And they've been surviving because of PlayStation. But people think that they're making all this money and more than Xbox, and they got way more money. Like, no, dude. Xbox is worth like $700 billion with a B. Their division is probably worth like 93 billion as far as what they own, their assets, like, and that includes the Sony movie department as well, right? And the electronic department. It's not just PlayStation. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I tried to explain this. You be like, yo, you don't understand the differences in how money works. Revenue and profits are different things. And they just, for the life of me, they want to be like, oh no, but they make it. And I even said that they even asked whoever it is that's in charge to do the data, right? To keep track of the data of sales, to include all console sales, like the PlayStation Portal, for those sales to be included as well, so that they can make their numbers look better, because by themselves, they're not going to be as impressive as people think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like they released that, all 80 million units sold or consoles, but in actual players' hands is only 56 million. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, I've always been suspect of their numbers, man, because it just doesn't add up at the end
No,
of the
it
day.
doesn't add up. There's no way that you can be in September, right, at 80 million, let's say, right, hypothetically, right? And then come December, we're at 120 million. There's no fucking way you sold 60 million consoles in 3 months. That's a lie.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that goes for anybody. That goes for Nintendo, Sega, anybody. PC. No, you're not going to sell 60 million consoles or PCs or handhelds in 3 months. That's no way in hell. There's the gaming industry or market is not that popular. Even though it's big, it's still not that popular.
Well,
There's
especially
billions-
now. Because I talked about this earlier in the podcast, right? Because the thing, look, again, like I said earlier, right? I feel sorry for everybody losing their jobs and everything like that, right? But the silver lining of this dark cloud that the gaming industry is going through is all these narratives are getting destroyed, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to, right? Is that all these narratives are getting destroyed because these people have been lying for so many years, right? Like money matters, dude. The bottom line matters. Your numbers matters. Decimal point matters. And at the end of the day, dude, if it's not adding up, dude, it'll be exposed, especially now. So that's what you see these guys going through right now. So when they say something ridiculous like jumping from 50 million to 80 million, that makes no sense, like you said, right? Because how is that possible in the economy that we have now, right? And they just raised the price, right? I think Nintendo and Sony, not just Sony, but Nintendo, raised the price of their console and they blame tariffs, of course, right, or whatever. But that's not that's the thing that gets me about this. Is it's like, no, dude, you guys are getting exposed, right?
Right.
They need to stop doing that, in my opinion. Because I'm like, no, dude, you're lying. You're being dishonest, like you said.
Well, that's a big problem. Like, they
Yeah.
keep trying to use the tariffs. There's no tariffs.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? These are fucking mentioning tariffs. Even the toy companies are doing it, like Super 7, and they're fucking in trouble now because they're giving you, and even Mondo, they're charging you like all this tariff money, and I'm like, yo, where are you getting tariffs? There's no tariffs right now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
The tariffs that exist right now, like Trump already made a deal with China. You're not getting tariff, no 300%, 400%. That's a lie. You get what I'm trying to say?
Well, the ugly truth, if they told the truth, is like, okay, because we're moving factories, right? So that's why it's going to cost you money. Right? Like a lot of this stuff, like people are talking about why people's energy is driven up, and there's multiple factors. All of this stuff is based on multiple factors, guys. It's not just one thing. And tariffs is the least thing on that border. On that thing, I'll just
They're
put it.
using that. They're using that, and people are running with that
Yeah.
narrative. Oh, it's the tariff. No, the fuck, it's not. That's a lie. But that's how you know when people don't understand politics or economics and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I was saying yesterday in the podcast. I don't know if you heard me or if you were there from the beginning or not when I was there, because I was explaining that the fact that Microsoft is doing the Rogue Ally and the Rogue Ally X, partnered up with Asus, right? Or Asus, right? However you pronounce it.
Yeah.
It's a smart move because it's a 4% market when it comes to like the Steam Deck and the other ones that are already available. Number one. And number two, they have to test the market to see if people are going to embrace it or engage, because they're not going to spend billions and billions of dollars in R&D, make their own proprietary one where it's just 100% official from them. Then it doesn't do well, and then all that money goes down the toilet. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because they've done it already multiple times. They did it with Mixer. They did it with the phone, right? They did it with split screen, whatever the fuck it was called, that split feature. They've done it with a bunch of things, and it end up being money they had to throw down the garbage. Like when they did the first Fable game or Fable Legends, they were $75 million that they had to throw away and then start from scratch. They did it with Scalebound with $100 million, and then they had to scrap the whole thing. Money, they know how to cut the fat before it gets out of hand or they start hemorrhaging, right? That's what they've always done. And that's what keeps them making money and keeps them afloat, right? And because they make smart decisions, even though those decisions will be like, fuck, why they do that for? Because Mixer was fantastic. But it's like I told Segamet, even during COVID, Mixer did not pick up. It didn't get enough subscribers, engagement, and people using it. Because Twitch and, and fucking YouTube and Facebook streaming are just way too big. Too many people are on it. They established their audience there. They're making their money there. They're not going to start from scratch a Mixer, right? Even or Discord or whatever. If it's not guaranteed, people are going to follow them, and then they end up losing money. Remember, that's their livelihood. They're already set with what they're doing and what they're making, right? And adapted to that. So they're not going to go and start another account and start over on Mixer and then take the risk of not getting the same type of views or amount of people following them or the amount of income that they could make, right? So that's also a big problem, right? So, that's where that conflict came from. Although Mixer was the best streaming, hands down, with actual real 4K streaming at 60, actual real live back-to-back communication where someone even in the chat could come in, take control of your controller if you were stuck in a game and help you pass it or show you what to do if you were stuck. Those were fantastic features that no one else offers. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's sad and it sucks, but once you see the details, because the details is always when you look at the context, right, of the situation. So that's when okay, now I get it. I understand why. And Mike Ybarra spoke about it many of times when it came to the split screen feature where you could watch, let's say Netflix and play video games. He said that was a feature that every company had to keep on updating. They had to keep on, fizzling out, make sure that it worked properly every time, every month, every so often, whatever, because it was based off each app, and the apps are not controlled by Xbox. People think that Xbox controls the apps. They don't. If Shudder has an app, it's Shudder that has to maintain that app. If YouTube has an app, it's YouTube that has to maintain that app. If Apple TV has an app, they got to maintain that app. Even though it's available on the console, it's not the Xbox engineers that take care of that. It's the people that are the app holders. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that concept. So because they weren't, using it or keeping it maintenance, it wasn't working really well all the time. And so a lot of people were not using it. And Mike Ybarra talked about that before he left on Twitter a couple of times, for those who may not remember, right? But so it sucked but it makes sense, right? That they did that. So again, trying to explain, more about why you see all these changes with them doing the Rogue Ally with Asus. It's genius because they have experience already in that market because they've been selling them already for the PC community, right? So if they're trying to do one that feels more like a console on your hand or on the go, right? With these new ones, they're going to know what to do much better and how to sell it and how to cater to the audience that really likes it much better. But again, it's only an option that Microsoft is offering. Most people that don't like it, they're not going to care regardless of what it is. But at least for those who are interested, it's there. The option is there. Unfortunately, me personally think that the problem with it is that because it's compressed high tech technology in a small little unit, it's too expensive because they had to compress it down, and that costs a lot of money, right? It's expensive still at this point, right? So with the chipsets and all that stuff, so it's a little overpriced, right? Because if you can get a console for $600, you're not going to pay 800 or 900 for a fucking goddamn handheld. You see what I'm saying? More than likely, the people that want to play games, they're just going to go for that console and just play it at home and use their phones or their tablets on the go with Xbox, play anywhere. Because that makes more sense, right? So yeah, Bistro looks good too. That's a platform actually. So it's like I was trying to say that they're doing it the right way. They're doing it smart, just like they, teamed up with the Meta VR, where they have that VR headset that's Xbox, based, with the Xbox UI and everything like that. Because Phil said long ago, I'm not going to invest in VR because there's not a market. The market's still not there, and it'll be a waste of money. But when the time is right, if the opportunity is there, and if it makes sense, and there's more people interested, then we'll make that investment. And you saw that people criticizing and scrutinizing, oh, how stupid, that's this and that. How dare you? Danny being one of those guys that did that. Danny Boy over. I remember the one that he sang with Mel and them in the podcast. He used to always scrutinize. And I told you, Danny, the market's just not there. You love VR, but a lot of people don't. So it's not going to do well, right? Especially that they got to sell it more expensive because it's different than when you sell it by itself, like they do with PC, that they sell the Meta one by itself and it's only like $200. For Xbox, it's got to work with the console. It's got a lot more complex because it's a more proprietary type of thing. So it's going to be way more expensive. That's why the PlayStation VR 1 and the PlayStation VR 2 both failed. You see what I'm saying? Sony tried it again. It didn't work. Where's the PlayStation VR 2? Nowhere. You don't see it in stores. You barely see people talking about it. They're not making no more games for it hardly. Maybe one game. I think the Deadpool game is the only one they showed that they're still making. That unfortunately it was our boys Twisted Pixel who's doing the game. The ones who did Local Cycle, Comic Jumper, those fantastic games that they made. Unfortunately, the new game is a VR game for Deadpool, which looks cool, but again, it's not going to sell and it's not going to do well for them because, again, VR is not a big market. It just isn't. Most people that buy the VR, unfortunately, is for that stupid thing, like either to watch movies, to have that experience and how it feels like in the VR, headset, and a lot of them are just watching porn because the data says it is there, that is being used more for movies and porn, not games. So that tells you a whole lot. So Microsoft making that decision of doing and teaming up with the Meta Quest to do a Xbox version of it is also smart. There's a lower risk, and if it doesn't do well, then they don't really lose out on a lot of money. And if it does do well, it's positive because they'll make money and then they can take a chance and just make an actual proprietary, dedicated one that they made themselves, officially licensed by them and officially manufactured by them. Um, and that's what that people don't understand. That's why they're doing that. Oh, they're trying to play it stupid, saying that it's an Xbox product, but it's really done by Asus. It's still an Xbox product because they're funding, the the engineering, the manufacturing of it, and you know having it be like the ecosystem that's around the Xbox ecosystem. So it's still like the UI is going to feel like an Xbox console. It's going to be very Xbox and Windows driven. So it's still an Xbox product, but it's in collaboration and in partnership with Asus. So you know when I see people saying that, oh, they think they're slick, it's not their problem. Like yo, you guys are really either you're unhinged, out of touch, or just straight up retarded. It's one or the other. I don't know. Because it just don't make no sense. The things people be saying, and the hate is just they're just hating because Microsoft is able to offer and do these things at a high level without having to worry about losing money. Sony cannot do that because the Portal was just a $200 screen that you can play as long as you're next to your unit, or if you're next to another console somewhere else where you sign in and upload your account, and then you can play your games on your account through the Portal. If I'm visiting you, and let's say you're using your TV and you're playing Fortnite, and I want to play Streets of Rage 4 for a little bit while you're playing Fortnite, I can still sign into your Xbox, download my account with all my games, and then transfer it over to the Portal, right, to play it on the screen. But that's the only way you can use it. It's not something that you can use on the go anywhere without the need of the console. You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Because you can natively download games.
Are you there?
Onto the Xbox Rogue Ally, supposedly. That's what I heard. That's what they said. So you'll be able to play it right on there, which is great. It's cool, right? So the hate is just because PlayStation can't do it at that level, at the level that Xbox is doing. That's where the hate comes. Because Sega was asking, well, why they're hating? Why this? It's just an option. Because look, I love games, but I'm never going to buy the Rogue Ally because I don't care. Even if it was official only from Xbox, I don't game when I'm going on a vacation, let's say, or if I'm going to go out with my family to the beach on 4th of July, or to the park, or to a cookout, or to the movies. I'm not going to be playing video games on the go. And if I'm in the doctor, I'm more concerned about being prepared for what the doctor's going to tell me. Hopefully, he don't tell me, hey, Mr. Christopher, you have 8 months to live. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
I'm not worried about playing a video game while I'm in the doctor. So I'm not going to do that either. The only way is if I travel, right? Like my job required me to always travel. If I'm always on a train or a bus or on a plane, then that's different. And even on a plane won't work that well because, you're up there in the air, and that's as airplane mode. That's the only way it's going to work. You get what I'm trying to say? So again, like I said, it's not for everybody, but it's an option. And that's what matters. The options are always good.
Yeah, that's part of their that's why I was saying a little bit earlier. I mean, it's like that should give you, a little bit of pause for some of you guys that are losing your mind about Xbox and the console and stuff like that. At least it's part of the game plan. It's part of their roadmap, right? Because they're doing that. So that to me, it only strengthens the fact that they got a console coming out soon. That they're going to have.
I also think that they're using it as a testing ground to see how it's going to work with the unification of all the other stores like Steam, the COG store, because they're trying and they are going to implement it on the next Xbox, which the console itself, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was like, when they be, consoles are going to go away. I was like, dude, consoles are not going to go away. Their biggest Game Pass market, whether it's 30 or 35 million, is on consoles. They're not going to throw 35 million people away on consoles that play on Game Pass to start over, only venturing in on a new thing like a PC. That's not going to happen. But on PC, there's only 10 million people on Game Pass. That's why I said the numbers are always wrong. Game Pass has at least 40 to 42 million subscribers right now, as we know it. You get what I'm saying? So if you do that math, even at the standard price of $15, that's like $7.6 billion a year, right? But that's obviously not taking out the cost, right? That's why when they take out the cost, they just, you saw that they just announced their numbers that they made over $5 billion in profits for Game Pass. You saw that. That was after cost for everything they pay out. Because you got to also deduct what they pay out. So they make about $7.58 billion. And then if you're using the $20 tier, that's almost like, I think it's almost like 9 points or 10.6 billion a year, right? And then you got to take out costs if you're using that tier. So they're going to make money regardless, and that's more money than Nintendo or Sony selling 5 exclusives at $70 or $75 in 1 year, and each one of those exclusives sells 10 million copies. That's more money than that, just for Game Pass. So we all know Nintendo and Sony don't make 10 exclusives. 5 exclusives in 1 year. We all know that when they do have an exclusive, they don't sell 10 million copies. Maybe Nintendo with Mario, but that's it, right? So we know that as well. And we also don't know that they sell them for $75 and don't give them away in Game Pass, so they don't have a Game Pass, a streaming service that has games day and day. So at the end of the day, that's how you know Microsoft is making more money than both companies. And that's how Game Pass is being successful and how they're able to pay out people and still put AAA games day and day. Because they're making a boatload of money just with Game Pass. You know what I mean? And it's guaranteed because it's every year and every month. So, again, like I was saying, it's a really ignorant thing for people to think that they're not going to make a new console. And they already said it multiple times. Phil said it. Jason Ronald said it. Matt Booty said it. Sarah Bond said it. We're working on the next generation of consoles. Right? Meaning home console, whatever else. I don't know. Next generation to SKUs like they did this one because of all the stupidity that they've had to deal with and backlash with the Series S, right? With all the, fake new nonsense of, the Series S is holding back the industry, but yet Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 is not holding back the industry. They're getting the same games that are on the fucking consoles that we have right now. You see what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
You could play Split Fiction on the Nintendo Switch 2. You could play Cyberpunk, right? You're gonna be able to play Street Fighter fucking 6. You're gonna be able to play games like the Hogwarts Legacy. So how is it that the Switch 2 that's less powerful, and we're gonna cut out that bullshit that the fucking Switch 2 is more powerful than the Series S, because it's not. Clearly, that's a lie, right? And we know it. Just because it has a better, a better and more up-to-date solution to post-processing, textures and certain things, so that character models look a little bit better in certain games. But yet, when you look at the game, the overall, it looks horrible in comparison to the S, right? Like Hogwarts Legacy, is a big indicator of that, and shows it. Like, don't come with the bullshit that it's on the same level or more powerful than the S, because it's not. That's a lie, right? So again, like I don't know if they'll do 2 SKUs. I think the 2 SKUs is very consumer friendly and helps out. Because a lot of people that don't want to spend the more money for the premium console can just get in with an entry level console. I think that's a good a good option always, but because they got so much bullshit and headaches and backlash with the S, I don't know if they'll do it for next gen. But overall, even if they don't, or even if they do, I think but they're gonna do a substantial leap forward, like they said, and it's gonna be to stop and limit the limitations with these developers so that they don't have to feel like, oh my God, we got to keep compromising all the time. And they can feel like they have a better playing field on the console space the way that they do with PC, right? They're kind of trying to do the 360 era again, in my opinion, with the next console. And then, of course, if they have the big 4 games, like Phil said, at launch, it's going to be a big deal. Like they have the new Gears, the new Halo, Forza, and Fable, which he said are all next year. That tells me that I wouldn't be surprised if the console launches holiday of 2026, and they just start from scratch because it's already going on 6 years for the Series X, right? And that's the real duration for consoles. It wasn't 8, it wasn't 9 years like during the 360. That was an anomaly. That wasn't something normal. It was always 6 or 5 to 6 years. Since was the beginning of time, it was always that way. During Atari, during the ColecoVision, the Master System, the NES, it was always 5 to 6 years and you got a new console. That was always the duration. So it's not like that's something unheard of, or that's not. It's not like it's something that's not realistic. That's realistic. Those are the ways that it's always been. And I feel if they go back to that model, it will be able to. They will be able to continue to, give us better technology in the consoles doing that. Instead of trying to stretch out the old tech, keep trying to stretch it, and then once the games get more demanding and require more specs and power, then you start seeing all these compromises, and the games look like shit. And when the next generation starts, then they do a remaster just so they could actually play it in the actual full fidelity with the new consoles because they have better hardware. Instead of them having, to continue to do that by them bringing out consoles every 6 years, like a normal duration, it eliminates that shit. And we'll be able to get better games, more new, unique IPs instead of getting the same thing over and over and over again. Even though I'm not opposed to remasters, I think remasters are great, especially with the older stuff that's very dated. If we could play them brand new, coat of paint and skin and gameplay mechanics, textures, that's fantastic. As long as it's done right, priced reasonably, I think that's great. But we need more new ideas and IPs because the only space that giving you games that feel like they're original or that they're breathtaking or they're doing unique things is in the indie space. You have a few in the AAA space, like something like South of Midnight, right, or AA space. But the one that you really see it in is in the indie space, not really the AAA realm, right? So if you want the gaming industry to keep doing unique and different things, like something like mixtape, then you gotta have shorter duration so that the technology is always there. There's not really limitations going forward when you're doing certain things. Like No Straight Road 2 is coming out. That's another nice announcement. That Shinobi, I don't know if you played the demo. That shit's amazing. You played the demo for Shinobi?
Oh yeah, Shinobi. That was the one I was thinking of earlier.
Oh my God.
I didn't get to play it, because It's
The
hard,
demo is
man.
on,
Like
the
when I
demo
come
is
on
on.
here and I tell people all the time, like I try to tell people, this is why I hate that there is no games narrative. People don't understand. Like some of the games that I play, me personally, some of the games that I play have replay value, or
Yeah,
games that take longer, right? Like when I and then the way I play certain games, like I've been showcasing some of the games that I liked, the trailers. I've been showcasing
yeah,
as you were talking.
yeah, yeah.
Those games are going to be games that you just don't. They're not one and done's, right? And Game Pass has that too. Xbox has that too.
Yeah, like
Xbox,
a Valve, for example. A Valve has a lot of replay value, right?
yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah. No, because like I'm playing Aliens Fire Team finally. You know, I bought that game when it came out, and it just kind
Yeah,
of fell
yeah,
off my
yeah.
radar.
Yeah, I never. Yeah, we should play, dude. I never had. You're talking about the one that's like really the third person, right? That one.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, man, we should play. I haven't played
I
it
think the
either.
only problem, yeah, I could send you a friend invite. The only problem I think we'll have, is the fact that it doesn't, like I don't think we'll be able to connect, bro. Their
I know
server.
you told me that the connection is very hard and difficult because of Hawaii's internet
No,
connection and stuff. I
I
remember.
think it's their, I think it's them. Like because I'm playing their stuff now and I get dropped.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so
They're probably not maintaining it because it's not enough traffic.
I think that's what it is. So you end up
But you
playing
know
with
they're
DM.
making a sequel to that too, right?
Oh, I definitely buy it, dude. It's definitely awesome. Hey,
It's
sorry,
awesome.
I gotta
It
go grab
feels
something.
so authentic to aliens.
Hey,
It is
Hiba, I
so
gotta grab
good.
something. So just keep on talking. I gotta grab something. Sorry.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. If you guys have not played Aliens Fire Team, oh man, that game is really, really nice. It's more. It's created more like think of it like the horde mode for Gears of War that you know fight waves and waves of aliens and they give you certain situations and circumstances. You know, like you got to beat a certain amount at a certain amount of time of the hordes, or you got to beat the hordes putting certain type of Gatling guns in certain areas or traps. It's kind of like that, but it has a little story as well, and it takes place in the timeline during Alien One and Aliens, with which was the sequel by James Cameron, obviously. And it's so authentic. It feels like Aliens. It looks like it when you're in the areas, the levels, the guns, all the perks, the fucking the clothing, like the military gear. Oh man, the camos that you can use, it's fucking dope. And I never really got to play. I played a little bit before co-op. You can play it by yourself too, but co-op is more fun because there's a lot of things you got to do together as a team. And when you play a single player, you got to take care of all those things by yourself, and it kind of becomes a little overwhelming and much more difficult, obviously, especially when you got all those waves of aliens attacking, and you're gonna die more than survive due to the fact that you got to manage way more things on single player mode. But it's nice that you can still, it's not undoable. It's doable. It's just a matter of getting used to it. But it's nice that they let you play it by yourself too. But it's co-op is better when you're playing with three people because it's three-player co-op. And my sons played that together with other people, but they didn't play with me. I should have body slammed them. Same thing like my friend Jorge. He did the same thing. He played it with some other people, and I never got to play it. But definitely check it out. And it's been cheap a lot of times. It's been on sale multiple times. I bought it, I believe, even physical because I have a physical copy of it. You might even be able to get the physical copy even dirt cheap, like maybe $5, because it's already that old. And it didn't do that well, I think, or it did well enough to do a sequel, but not as well as it should have for being such a popular IP from back in the day, right? But the problem is most kids now that play, they're not nostalgic and they don't appreciate those old IPs the way that we did. And most of our guys either stopped playing games or dead, passed away, right? Or or just don't have the skills because the reflex is not the same to play those type of games. That's why I said it for us. uh, It's a luxury to play video games. You know, it's not even a hobby anymore. It's a luxury because because of the time constraints. They're not having the same agility, skill set, reflex like we used to. It's way, way different. I wonder if the comment section still, I'm trying to see how the comment section is. Let's see. What was the last comment? Oh, PlayStation and PC have more players than Xbox. Who, Kratos, more players as far as what, online? Hell no, they don't. Who said that to you? No way. Hell no. On Xbox, you got over 530 million people on Xbox Live. On PlayStation, there's only like 120 something players. Like, what are you talking about? Hell no. You don't got more people on PlayStation playing than Xbox. There's no fucking way. You're buggy. You're buggy. No, hell no. Because remember, Xbox Live is also available for PC, and you can play it on your older units like the Xbox One, and even I think 360 still, if I'm not mistaken. Even though they shut down the store, but you can still play online through the 360 too. And now, obviously the Xbox Series X and S. But oh my God, my phone is dying. Crap. Hey, brother, you there? Say, man. He be out. So, any of you guys are still in the comment section, what games you saw that were excited and pretty hyped on Gamescom? What was about to die? I heard.
Yeah, sorry, brother. I'm back. I heard what you said.
Oh,
Let
I
me
was
add something
telling
to what you said. You said about the. It's funny to me because I'm playing Aliens Fireteam and there's people playing it, but it's not as if I put on COD, I'm always gonna get in the game.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and it's funny to me, man, because COD's been getting a little bit of backlash lately for some of the choices that they've been making. But the funny thing that cracks me up about that is you have a game like Alien Fireteam that I think a lot of people would like,
Yes.
right? But they won't gravitate to it, right? Because people nowadays they don't want to take a chance for some reason. This
Well,
is
it's
why I've been harping.
they're so stuck. People are stuck in the idea of, I got to play whatever's popular. I cannot play something different. And
Well,
that's all it is.
but I think it's worse than that, dude. I think that's why. I mean, like, I'll probably do a series on this channel, dude, because I think the culture of gaming is really dying. And then
Yeah,
if you're
yeah.
a gamer, man, it didn't matter. Like something piqued your interest, like, oh, I'm gonna check it out. If you didn't like it, then you didn't play it, right? And back in the day, dude, we took a lot of risks, right? Because we had to pay hard-earned money for our games. And if you didn't like it, dude, it sucked, right? You'd be like, oh well,
Yeah, you were stuck with a game you didn't like. It is what it is. You couldn't trade it in. You couldn't do anything. It was those weren't options we got.
nope.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
Yeah,
everything's at your fingertips,
Fire
man. And these
Team is,
people are still not happy, dude. It irritates me.
yeah, Fire Team is a very, very underrated game. It's good. And I would have done better. I guarantee you would have grown and been much bigger and much better because they would have been able to feed it and add more stuff, from the alien universe. Um, but because it did like okay, but not what better than what it should have. You get what I'm saying?
With
That's what I
all
was
the
saying.
shooters, with all the shooters that are out there that I play, this definitely deserves its place. Like this should be on everybody's rotation.
Right, right, right.
And like you said, they did add stuff to it. There's stuff they put in because I'm coming kind of late to the game. But first and foremost, man, just like how I love Indiana Jones,
Right.
Aliens. This game feels like I'm an actual colonial marine
Yes.
going into the thick of it. So
That's what I was saying. The authenticity of the game is so on point.
mhm.
The levels feel like alien levels in the alien universe. The gear that you use, the military gear, the weapons, and the aliens themselves. And I was trying to explain. Are you there, brother?
No, I'm here.
I was trying to explain how. Oh my God, where are you? You can hear me, brother?
Yeah, you're coming in loud and clear. Hebot, are you there? Oh, I think we lost him this time. He'll be back. Hey, brother, if you're there, we can't hear you if you're talking. Okay, might be your mic.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I was trying to explain how the way Alien Fire Team is designed, you got to think of it as almost like the way the Horde mode is for years.
Hmm.
It's like it's almost like that. That you're going in, they give you the mission, but it has a little sub story, like a story mode. But it's like minimalistic, but it's still story driven.
Mhm.
And you go in and you got to do certain things to kill off the waves of the aliens and to clear out the sections when you're fighting them wherever areas you go. So it's kind of like a horde mode with a hub in the game, the way it was structured. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But it's fun, and you can play a single player. But the thing is, since you got to do so many things, it's a little overwhelming because you got to keep track of a lot of shit. You know, your energy, killing a specific alien at a specific moment, putting Gatling guns down in traps in certain areas. When you're playing it together, everybody is looking out for each other and having each other's back. But when you're playing it alone, especially since you get waves and waves of aliens at the same time, almost like the way it does in World War Z, it's hard because they're fast, they're dangerous, right?
Mhm.
So and making sure you get enough ammo. If you run out of ammo, run to a certain area, get ammo, then you can keep fighting and shooting them off. All while they're chasing you and trying to kill you, like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So it's cool that you can play a single player, but it's a lot more weighty. It's a lot more, you know, uh, it's a lot more that you have to handle. So it might be a turnoff at first. It's not that it's not doable. It is doable, but you got to practice and learn because you're going to die a lot by yourself, single player, definitely. But when you play it together, Chacho, it's a lot of fun because you take care of one thing, I take care of the other, somebody else take care of the other because it's 3-player co-op. So it's awesome. The game is dope. I like it. I never got to play it. My sons played it with their friends by themselves. Then they played with me, and so did my friend Jorge. So they're a bunch of bums. They're a bunch of bums. They want to play with dad. You know how it is. So, you know, it sucks that the game didn't get more love. But for what I heard, if I read correctly, they are making a sequel. So that's a good thing. You know, it did well enough that it's getting a sequel. Is what I mean, right?
Yeah, it deserves one.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um,
I think they like got the classes down. They need to like I like playing with the dock, but you need to really like boost them a little bit.
yeah, yeah. Hey,
I mean, it
brother.
has everything in there. Like a lot of people like shooters, they like to go into the
Oh
build.
yeah, yeah. Everything. It's third person too, which is great. Um, brother, I'm gonna have to just cut off. I couldn't even do an outro or nothing because the phone is about to die. I didn't realize my phone is dead. It's dying.
Oh no worry, we can wrap it up because I
Cool.
gotta go. I
I'll
gotta
call
go
you
anyway.
back. I'll call you back later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or, or if you're still on and I charge it a little bit, I get back on. But it's
No,
about to
I
die.
gotta wrap it up anyway, bro. I gotta go. I gotta go take
All
our
right, all right. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you for sending me the link.
Yeah, no worries, man.
So, like I said, maybe we should try to see if it works and we can play a little bit because that game is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I'll
All right,
talk to
brother.
you later, puppy. All right. And to the chat room, peace out, guys.
All right, brother Hebot's gone. Um, yeah, sorry guys. I'm gonna have to wrap it up as well. But I've been showcasing just to kind of start the ending of the show. Basically, give them. Actually, I want to show the gameplay for Ninja Gaiden, but maybe I'll do that in a separate video. Not to focus. But what I've been doing when Hebot was talking was showcasing some of my favorite um, games from the show, especially the trailers. And some of them have actual, they have to explain the gameplay and stuff like that. So definitely go check it out. You can go on Xbox's channel. I do Xbox TV View. I like that guy's channel as well. Or you can just do the Gamescom search, right? But and it's surprising because some of the games aren't on the Xbox channel. If I'm being honest, I have to go look for it. I don't know if it's because they're sponsored by somebody else or something like that. But this game right here, shout out to Focus, man. They've been killing it. Focus is killing it. And they had a good showing before Gamescom. They talked a lot of trailers.
You see my new toy?
Liar, liar! Zombie on fire!
Oopsie!
They're wrecking our ride!
Could use some help now.
I need some first. Can you all please cover me?
Never works.
Absolutely looking forward to this game. I was hoping it would drop this year, maybe the end of the year. But it's going to come around next year. Got the John Carpenter angle on it. And if you guys played Focuses, they do a lot of those road. What are those games, man? Dang, dude. I'm drawing a blank. But a lot of their games, man, a lot of the games that they produce, dude, are just really well done. Some of the games are my cup of tea. That's the unfortunate part because I probably buy more stuff from them. But I just bought their Expedition one. Let me go look it up real quick because I don't want to give you guys some scoops. Roadcraft. Well, I didn't buy Roadcraft, but Roadcraft's the next one I'm gonna get. Let me see what they have. Roadcraft is like their latest one. It looks super cool. Of course, Warhammer, right? I know they have it on sale right now. Probably should go buy it. Man, he's in the Chance of Sonar, dude. That game was pretty cool. Resonance didn't do like they do like they just do a look of some of these guys. This is why I think it's important for people to follow the actual publishers and see what they got. Because these guys put out a lot of games. Like My Time in Sandrock, had no idea they did that. Atlas Fallen, which I bought, it's an awesome game. Aliens Fireteam, that's them as well. Evil West, Plague Tale Requiem, Atomic Heart, which is so underrated. Yeah. Oh, the Snow Runner, like the Runner series. They do all of those. I didn't know they did World War Z. I just found that out. Aliens Elites Fireteam, which I talk about. Hood Outlaws and Legends. Right? They do like the Renovator games. They have a good library of stuff. They're just one of those developers that you buy a game and not realize, or they're one of those publishers you buy a game and not realize that they're the ones that make it. That's what I find myself doing all the time. And then normally, if Xbox has a Focus sale, then you like Focus publisher sale. Most of the stuff I want to get, I actually own. But every once in a while, a game will be in there that I'm interested in, but didn't have the time to pick it up. And then I was like, oh, dude, they sell that, or they publish that. Again, culture of gaming, man. We need to get back to this. I think if people did this, dude, they'd spend less time complaining. Because at the end of the day, I'll kind of wrap it up with this. I think that's a real problem with gaming right now. And then people can have their critiques, man. I'm not talking critiques and complaining is two different things, right? When people complain about stuff, dude, it's usually something they don't like, right? That's why you hear people complain about their job. Like, you know, they're not happy at their job, or else they wouldn't complain about it. They might critique it, right? They might say something, they wish something else was better, but overall, at the job I'm at now, I really do like it because I'm dealing with budgets and money and procurement. It's pretty interesting. And there's a method to the madness, unlike my other job, which that was fine too. But I find myself personally, professionally, that I like this. I like the process better where I'm at now. Okay, so like there's some things that every job you might not like, but if you don't like that job, then it's best that you move on because you're not going to be happy. Same thing with gaming. Anymore, when I look at what people talk about all the time, they're just not. They just don't enjoy gaming. So you should just give it up. That's just me personally, my personal opinion. They spend more time complaining about stuff. And again, difference between critiquing and complaining, because I do follow people that critique all the time. I have no problem with that. But at the end of the day, I make up my own mind. Again, I tell you guys this all the time on my channel. A lot of the stuff that I like, most people don't. So just because somebody doesn't like something doesn't mean that I'm going to bypass it. I'll just try it out. There's a game that's on here, and I don't like the woke stuff, but I'm going to take a chance on it because it looks like the writing's very creative and the characters are interesting, right? It's just that there's so much content that came out that was just so bad across the board. So, but I'm willing to take that deep dive and try it out. It's on sale right now too, so that's another way. If that's a game you don't want, you want to take your chips, you're going to take a chance on, maybe wait for it to go on sale. I mean, it's getting that way now, dude. People are not going to buy $70. Most people won't buy $70 for a game. So the industry's going to have to find a way to course correct. Microsoft is already there. They actually dropped the price on. I forgot what game they dropped the price on. Wasn't it Outer Worlds? They dropped it to 70. And so that's just the market. The market demands. And unfortunately, dude, if you're the consumer, the only way you can fight that is with the power of your wallet. Just don't buy it. That's what I do. Wait for it to go on sale. Right? Again, get Game Pass. It's a great deal. You don't even have to get the ultimate. You get the tier 1. Whatever I think it's $9.99, $10.99, $11.99. They're bringing a lot of the stuff over there. You're not going to get a lot of the stuff you're getting in Ultimate. Not a lot. You won't get all the stuff from Ultimate, but dude, you're going to get a bunch of games that you're going to play, and then you can beat those games, right? Again, I tell these people all the time. This is what ticks me off about people who critique Game Pass. Game Pass, it's not one and done games, dude. They have all kind of games in there, so you can find something that'll justify that monthly purchase, right? And then if you're like me, right, and you're a gamer, you can go and buy the games. That's what I do. All of that because that's what I am, dude. That's again culture of gaming, dude. This is what gamers do, and we need to get back to that, dude. Because this industry is gonna if we don't do this, industry is gonna fade away. Because there's no point. You see that happening right now, like how everybody was big on Marvel movies, right? And the Marvel movies are failing by their own standard, right? They're failing, and Disney movies as well. They had Moana did really well. Not Moana, Lilo and Stitch did really well, but if we're being honest, dude, that's because it's the nostalgia of the first movie. Then I heard a lot of complaints about the movie. So the chance of Disney being able to do that twice, I don't think it's likely. I think Moana's going to suffer from that. Because Moana's not as beloved as Lilo and Stitch, right? So my point being is that we need to appreciate what we have. And that's the hard part of all this stuff because things are already in flux when it comes to gaming. So, and that's what I'll do on my channel, dude. We'll kind of course correct and go that route. I mean, if you own an Xbox, dude, you have a lot of things to celebrate. Hopefully, some of the stuff we talked about on the podcast, some of the stuff I shared, gives you guys hope, right? Which it should, man, because there shouldn't be any point where you aren't excited about as an Xbox fan. The content that you have is just undeniable. Like Toxic Commando, looking forward to that. All the games I showed, man, I'm looking forward. I could have shared 5 more trailers. Could actually do a more deep dive, but I got to wrap it up, guys. I got to go. Thank you guys for stopping by. Thank you to the chat, man. Thank you to my brother Hebot for doing the podcast with me. Really appreciate it. Kratos, man. Thanks for you to come in here. I think it's funny that you're actually in an Xbox podcast instead of playing your games, but it is what it is. Faded Blaze, thank you for being here, my brother. Anthony Chipmunk, Two Man, Big B Money, man. Thanks for stopping by, bro. I see you a lot. And of course, Daniel Berry Sports. To all you guys who watch the podcast, really appreciate it. And at the end of the day, man, enjoy your games. Xbox All In channel. We out.